Okay. First thing I want to discuss, if you hear anything in the background like music, that's the game I'm currently working on for my next review. I decided to change it again. It's not going to be Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. Sorry if anyone was looking forward to that one. Next, on to the actual video. Eighth Gen. This has got to be the worst generation we've ever had. No one's satisfied. No one's completely satisfied. Alright. Even 7th Gen. Everyone was satisfied. Nintendo fans, somewhat satisfied. Alright, even with the Wii. Because they got a Kirby game. A true Kirby game. A Kirby experiment game like we got this generation. I mean, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse and Kirby Epic Yarn both experiments. And so, not true Kirby games, but experimental ones with a unique twist, so yeah, but they got that, and a true Kirby game. 2 Zelda games, well, 1 if you only count Skyward Sword, but then Twilight Princess was released on the Wii before the GameCube. Then 2 Mario 3D platformers. There's one of them with Yoshi in it, so any Yoshi fans could go, huzzah! An exclusive Sonic game for Sonic fans, and Epic Mickey. The original was an exclusive, and people enjoyed it. Now, there were faults. I'm not going to deny that, but it was still better than anything this generation ever has put out. This generation has put out lies, broken games, and it's done everything wrong. Now let's start at the beginning. 2011. They announced the Wii U. Some people didn't hear about it, and some people who did hear about it thought it was a peripheral for the Wii, myself included. Then, in 2012 rolled around. I didn't see that E3. Actually, my first E3 wouldn't be till 2013. And I mean my first E3 where I didn't go back and watch it. Shit, after it already happened, I watched it when everything was going on. So anyway, after 2012, we were treated to basically nothing that drew us in. And I didn't buy a Wii U in 2012. I was like, I'll wait till next year. Year when they get games. Then, early 2013, Sony announced the PS4. Showed off some games, and showed off the controller. And that was it. Then, right before E3... Oh, and one last thing. They also did announce that they were going to show off the full details at E3 2013. Blah. Sony. That's what they did. Then, Microsoft, right before E3, shows off the console. And shows off some bare minimum stuff. And people were angry. Myself included. Now we roll around into E3 2013. I'm gonna say it right now. Microsoft was in dead last. We can all agree they had a decent their showing of games was about on par, maybe slightly above Sony's. No, slightly on par. Yeah, on par. And they were arrogant. Don Matrick just introduced these stupid policies. It was just bad. Horrible E3. Horrible. Sony, now, their E3 was like Nintendo's in 2012. They just showed off stuff that was already coming to the PS3 and 360, also coming to the Xbox One and Wii U, so you had multiple choices. You didn't really need to go get a PS4 for a lot of this stuff, and the stuff they did show that was exclusive that said, come get this system, wasn't drawing wasn't really that enticing. But they did one thing correctly that got people to want to buy it. They took pot shots at Microsoft and the mistake they made. So their biggest mistake was Sony's key to getting in gamers' good graces. Actually, no, they also took pot shots. They didn't directly take pot shots at Nintendo, but they also kind of used both companies' mistakes. They took pot shots at Microsoft's mistakes of how anti-consumer the console was, and then by being more just going, hey, we're the most powerful console out there. They made it look like, oh, why am I going to get a Wii U next year? All the multi-plats will be on there and look better and play better anyway, so better. And by next year they'll start getting games, right? So yeah, that's how people thought. I saw through the smoke and mirrors and went, their E3 played out just like Nintendo's last year. I cut them a little bit of slack and I'll probably get it in 2014 if they do what Nintendo did. Their E3 kicked butt. It was pretty good. Okay, Grandpa, you're going to bed? Yeah. Okay, see ya. Anyway, sorry for that interruption. Anyway, moving on to that. E3 was really bad. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Where was I? Oh yeah, Nintendo's E3. It was really good, except for one thing. The bad thing, and I just realized why I said bad, was because it was too short. It was just barely long enough. I feel 30 minutes is the bare minimum an E3 presentation can be. And an hour and 30 minutes is the maximum it can be being tolerable. Meaning, 30 minutes you're just barely satisfying people, and an hour and 30 minutes you're just barely not ticking people off, in my opinion, lengthwise. An hour is the golden number, I would say, for an E3 press conference. 1 hour. That has people absolutely satisfied, but it doesn't have people going, oh, when is this gonna end? 2 hours is too long, and 30 minutes, and 20 minutes is too short. 20 minute long E3 is unacceptable. A 2 hour long E3 is unacceptable. That's what I just wanted to say about that. Now, Nintendo won because they actually had games that their E3 showed off games that they had come this year that we actually wanted to play and that you could only get on their system, And at the time, they were still getting the third parties. They were getting the Skylanders. They were getting Disney Infinity. They were getting Assassin's Creed, Eve 4, Black Flag, the new one, and Call of Duty Ghosts. So, yeah, they won. Won by having multi-plats and a small amount of exclusives that were enticing. Then, Sony, they just had multi-plats and were overall. Well, I was walking out of E3 saying I'm buying a Wii U in 2013, and I'm buying a PS, and I might buy a PS4 in 2014 if they do what Nintendo did in 2013 and turn around this bleak launch and just come out with some actual good games that make me want to get the system specifically. And then the third parties are just there and I'm going, oh, okay, I'll get this version of it since it's going to be the better version. I can tolerate a slightly downgraded version if I have other games on the system that I want to play. Like to increasing the game count, increasing my fun that I'm actually having. So let's move on to 2014 and find out what did happen. Microsoft improved because they got rid of all the anti-consumer policies and programs in the Xbox One. And because they had increased their showing, they did slightly above average. It was not bad, but not like nothing to go, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And I'd say they did okay. Second place. Now Sony, last place, hands down. One, console was the press conference was way too long, and two, all the stuff that we yelled at Microsoft for doing during E3 2013, I mean not their E3, but their pre-show that they announced the Xbox One at, which back then it was okay because they were right on the cusp of E3 and they wanted to avoid what happened at Nintendo's 2015 E3. More on that later. They wanted to avoid that type of E3 show. They wanted to avoid that. So I can understand that press event not being as amazing as some people said it should have been. I can understand. It was so close they wouldn't have had anything to show at E3. Moving on. But they did show a lot of non-gamer stuff like sports, TV, hours, all this other stuff no one wanted to see. And that's what Sony did. They showed nothing. They showed, like halfway through, they just started talking about Vita apps and Powers and the TV show and all these peripherals no one cares about and stuff. Oh my god, it was just horrible. And most of the stuff that they showed you could get on the PS3, 360, Xbox One, or a Wii U. So, just garbage. The Wii U and Nintendo 2014 juggernaut E3. Right? They started out amazing with Smash Brothers, then they finished off with Star Fox. It was just beautiful. Beautiful E3. Well, if you don't even count the Star Fox one, then they finished off with Splatoon, and that was a beautiful thing also. So, every one of their games were exclusive, and not only did they show games that were coming out in 2015, but they also showed a lot of games that were coming out after E3 during 2014, and that was what was important. It was kind of bogged down by its length. Even though it was way better than 30 minutes, it still was a little bit off from hitting the sweet spot. 15 minutes to be exact. It was 15 minutes away from hitting that sweet spot in length. And they were lacking some third-party stuff. So, not quite the hit that they would have. It could have still had improvement, but it was still the best of the 3 E3s we got. Then rolling around 2015. And I'm going to say it right now. Nintendo lost E3 2015. They lost. First place goes to Microsoft. Second place goes to Nintendo. Aha! Bet you thought I was going to say they did last place. Nope. They did not. People like Fluorescence should watch the 8-Bit podcast, then come back and tell me with a straight face that you can honestly say it was the worst E3 that Nintendo had. It wasn't nowhere near as good as 2014. But they at least showed games that were coming out this year. And this is their problem. They showed games that were already shown. They didn't have any surprises like 2013 or 2014. And that's what hindered their success. If they had waited, and this had been the first time that they showed off Shin Megami Tensei since January of 2013, because back then we had only gotten a concept trailer showing artwork of each character from each series and announcing that there was going to be a crossover between the two series. No CG cutscene, no gameplay, and it had been 2 years since anything had been heard. It would have been like Last Guardian, and that would have been a huge surprise, and that would have brought it up to not nowhere near as good as 2013, but still be a average conference. As of now, it stands as a below average, slightly below average. Sony's, on the other hand, was not as bad as 2014, but still pretty bad. Why? Because all the games that they announced are coming either late 2016, except for Uncharted 4, that's coming early 2016. But Last Guardian, no way in heck is that or Horizon coming out until late 2016. And then that's only 2 games again. Everything else, Shenmue 3 and Final Fantasy 7, the 2 big showstoppers. They're both timed exclusive, and 2, I bet you at earliest they're going to be 2017. And I mean quarter 3 or quarter 4 of 2017. And those were the big ones. At least in 2013, Nintendo's E3 had Super Mario 3D World, a big one that was coming out that year. Sony didn't have that, and the only game they had that anybody's playing is Bloodborne. But I remember Nintendo gamers in a similar position. Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. They were just sitting there playing that, waiting for something new to come out to the system. Something good. And then we started getting a rush of games. Sony has never hit that. They never hit that rush of games. That's their problem. And that's why, and because everyone's tolerating it and not voting with their wallets, Sony can sit back just like how Nintendo could sit back and wait when did Nintendo during the Wii, answer me this, when did Nintendo during the Wii, which had similar sales figures to the PS4, when did it start bringing out games like Super Mario Galaxy 2, Donkey Kong on Country Returns, Kirby Return to Dreamland, and Skyward Sword. 2010. And when was the thing released? 2006. 4 years. 4 years. They started bringing out the good old Nintendo franchises 4 years into it. And you want to know why? Because sales during 2009 had dropped out because everyone was onto Nintendo's game and finally had enough of their shit. They said 3 years were long enough for them to wait on games. And that's what's gonna happen with the PS4. I guarantee you. The Xbox One and Wii U will be remembered as the good gaming consoles. Whereas, just like how the 360 and PS3 were remembered as the good gaming consoles, not the Wii. The PS4 will be slightly profitable because of the hardware and some of the royalties they make off of third parties. But they only make small portions of money off of third parties. They're not going to be making money off of their first parties because they don't make any. And all the few that they do make are few and far between. Heck, let's review their first party lineup because we can do that in a small amount of time. First one up, Knack. That's Wonderful 101 did everything, fixed every one of its problems. Cheap enemy placement and low health causing you cheap deaths. Wonderful 101 gives you a lot more health and a lot more room for error. It doesn't tell you have to be perfect to get through a level. And that's something Knack tries to force you to. If you mess up and start taking damage, you're gonna get stunned from it, and then you're probably gonna get hit again and then die because your health is so low. Then they also did combat better. They had more variety, and the size increasing. Your enemies didn't scale with you, so it actually felt like you were using a giant weapon when you actually had the option to pull out a giant freaking sword and cut through everything. Unlike Knack, where it just feels like, hey, where nothing really changed. Moving on. Killzone Shadowfall. It was so bad, one would rather play Halo 4 or any of the games. Well, no, Halo 4 was actually good. People would rather play, say, Destiny, or Call of Duty. Anything else but Shadowfall. It just looked pretty. That's it. And then Infamous Second Son, really good game. First, okay game on the system, but it was only a C quality. It was average. It was something that should have been a launch game. Moving on. And why I say a launch game? Because it would have been a game that you say, here, have fun playing this. Yeah, this is not bad. While we wait for the amazing stuff next year. Yeah, I'll sit here and play Infamous Second Son. It's a fun time waster until I can get my hands on the real juicy stuff. Same thing with Little Big Planet 3. It was a time waster. Not bad, but just something. It's Luigi's Mansion. It's something you play until you can get some real good stuff like F-Zero GX, Mario Kart Double Dash, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Resident Evil 4, which I wouldn't play, but stuff like that. Moving on. Drive Club. garbage. And I'm saying, and I'm not a graphics whore, but drop the graphics and give us 60 frames. Especially with a racing game. Response time is everything in a racing game. I don't care how pretty the car looks, as long as I have great response time. Moving on. Last of Us doesn't count. Why? Because unlike Wind Waker, HD, and Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, and Master Chief Collection, it didn't have a reason to exist. Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate was on the Wii, and was an early Wii title, so it had long been on the Wii, and there had been a significant time gap. And since it was on the Wii, it wasn't HD, so it made sense to bring it on up, add online, and clean up the graphics and make it look HD and add online. It made sense. Wind Waker, it was a GameCube game. A lot of people had probably already sold their GameCubes and probably were wishing they hadn't. So, Wind Waker HD. Master Chief Collection. Wow. Halo 2. And plus, Wind Waker getting a graphical facelift. You know, it didn't need it, but it still looks even better than before. Halo Master Chief Collection. Halo 2 was not in HD yet, and since they had a new system, and the 5th installment was coming up, so hey, we got this new system, people are waiting for the 5th game, and some people might not have played Halo. Yes, I know people who own an Xbox who actually haven't played Halo, until they got the Master Chief Collection, and so they put them all together, and they gave Halo 2 the HD treatment, which it needed. What did Last of Us Remastered do? Nothing but just porting Last of Us to the PS4 and make it look pretty much, yeah, that's it. It didn't make it look that much prettier. It didn't look prettier at all. Heck, my cousin, he felt like an idiot for buying it. And yet once I told him, you do realize you could have bought that on your PS3. And he went, wait, okay, at least, hey, it's probably an early PS3 game, right? Nope. Came out 1 year ago. And his jaw just went, yeah, I wasted my money. That was his reaction. And then, well, moving on, we have Order 1886, another tech demo, and Order 1886 could have been tolerable if it was released at launch, but no, it wasn't. I wouldn't be ripping it. I would have ripped it as much of a, like I would have just said, okay, it's average, garbage, be gone. I wouldn't have talked about it that much, but if it had been at launch, because the Wii U had New Super Mario Bros., Nintendo Land, and Zombie U. And none of those games are worth going, oh my god, or are even Infamous 3 levels. Well, so, of excitement, so, yeah, I would say the same thing about Order 1886. So, I couldn't really hotshot Sony without having to take a shot at Nintendo too, so I'm not going to beat either of those two dead horses, so moving on. Then Bloodborne. Finally a game of actual next-gen level, but it's only one game. Where's everything else? And those are my thoughts, guys. See ya.